And what's alleged is, and it's the last clause, maybe two clauses, it says a place specifically described in order, to wit, the residence of a protected individual, namely Mark, and it should say Mick Williams, but it says Mark Williams. So it's in order to meet this charging document, it would have to be that gentleman's residence. And he does not reside there, as by his own representation.
Let's break this down. The whole charge rests on a guy supposedly being somewhere he wasn't allowed. But here's the kicker. The person he's supposed to avoid doesn't even live there anymore. You can already see this case starting to fall apart.
I'm ready for a nap. Like a big meal and a nap, and then Fortnite. No, I'm in La La Land.
He's looking at the bunnies hopping through the forest.
There you go.
Rainbows and drops.
I don't know how I often slow down progress, Judge, but somehow at least I'm consistent.
Yeah.
So. Listen, you don't need to say a word.
Morning, Mr. Bio. You speak English, right?
Yes.
Okay. Shh. All right, Mr. Bio, you're charged initially as of, it looks like November 7th, you picked up an assault of a family member. I see now that you've picked up a new case. As of November 30th, you've picked up a violation of a bond condition or protective order. I don't know which it is.
Here's where things get messy. We're about to hear what triggered the newest violation charge. Pay close attention. Who actually started the chaos and who just got dragged into it?
All I know is that you picked up a violation case. You're facing now another year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. I haven't done probable cause, so we're going to do that. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one. Sir.
Officers were dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas in response to a disturbance. The complainant stated that he was locked out of his residence by his ex-wife's new boyfriend. Complainant went to the residence because his ex-wife had called him and stated that she was going to work. When the complainant asked who would be watching their children, the ex-wife said a friend. Complainant then heard defendant's voice in the background and went over to the apartment. Complaining witness is the same complainant.
You said he heard whose voice?
The complainant heard the defendant's voice in the background. I think that the complainant believed that the defendant would be watching his and his ex-wife's children, and that's why he went over to the apartment. Complainant is the same complainant from a pending AFM, and the apartment address where the defendant was staying is listed on a signed order of protection.
How bad of an assault were we talking in the original case? What happened is
I think it was punching in the face with a closed fist.
once, twice, thrice?
2 to 3 times, it looks like, Judge.
Okay.
And I can give some excellent background on that I think they're also still working through.
On the assault case, we issued a protective order, I would imagine.
Yes, and I've got a copy of that, Judge, if you need to see.
And we ordered him, did we order him not to have contact with this person?
Yes, but that's not the basis of the new charge. And so if we delve into the state's filed information, which is also the basis of the allegation he violated, well, I imagine you're hearing both kind of in conjunction, the new charge PC, but also considering the questions of bail with respect to the first charge as well.
Of course.
What's been alleged in the new information is that Mr. Bio went to the residence of the CW, Mr. McWilliams. As of the date when we first appeared in court, the representation was made by both Mr. McWilliams, and then today the representation was made by the ex-wife of Mr. McWilliams, who is the dating partner of Mr. Bio. So he is dating this gentleman's ex-wife. But she has confirmed to both of us that McWilliams has moved out of that residence as of the date of the first alleged assault. And McWilliams has told them that. They have been unable to reach McWilliams as of recently. But
Clip 3. Now for the legal twist. If McWills doesn't even live there, then the whole basis for a new charge could collapse. Legally speaking, that's like trying to bake a cake without flour. The charge just won't hold.
in the RIP call information, McWilliams confirms, I moved out that day and do not live at the address that's at issue in this VPO case. If you look at the filed information in that VPO case, it's a necessary ingredient of that allegation that McWilliams lived at that address. It specifically says it in the last line.
You're saying in the protective order?
Yes, Jim. Oh, no, not the protective order. In the violation of protective order case, if you look at the state's filed information in that case, you will see the last line is, to wit, he was at the complainant's residence, but Mr. McWilliams doesn't actually live there. He moved out. Actually, was not on the lease.
He's still not supposed to have contact with this person.
Well, he's not. He didn't have contact with him. What happens is he's at a place that is not McWilliams' address, and then McWilliams, angry that he's there, still wanting to control his ex-wife, comes over there and busts the windows. And so that is the
What's the window of
his ex-wife's house where Mr. Biles.
what's the ex-wife's name?
Shannon.
Shannon. Okay, so
And we both spoke to Shannon a few minutes ago.
and Shannon has how many kids with Mr. Bio? Or do they have kids or no? So whose kids are they? McWilliams?
Williams and Shannon's children.
Okay.
I think there's two.
And so what's alleged in the newly filed charging document is that Mr. Bio went to the residence of McWilliams, which there's no PC to believe in. He did not go.
Here's a question for you. Should protective orders be updated when someone moves out? Or does that just create more confusion and wrongful charges? Let me know what you think in the comments.
Residence of McWilliams. He went to Shannon's residence. McWilliams does not live there, stopped living there, and the state can't meet the information. And so there's no PC on, my argument, Judge, is that there's no PC that the state or the officer.
So in our case, in the assault case, the protective order says that he's not supposed to go to this Spring Cypress, the apartment in Spring Cypress, right?
Well, contemplating that that's McWilliams' address.
Is that his address? Yes or no?
That is no longer his address, Judge.
Okay.
When that was filed, I imagine that was the original apartment, but on the
Because a lot
day.
of times they never updated. They just put the original apartment where it happened at, and they always assume that it's this, and, just.
So that's no longer the address. Mr. McWilliams moved out of that address on the day of the incident. And he told
Okay.
me he moved out. I believe that Shannon is the only name on
For
the lease.
for the violation case, where is he alleged to have gone to?
He went to the address that's listed in the original MOA. So he went to the Spring.
Spring Cypress.
Right.
That's right.
Okay.
And
But what he's saying is that this person no longer lives there.
well, that's what McWilliams told the state, and that's what Shannon has told both the state and myself, and that is what our full understanding is. Now, I know that address is listed in the protective order, but what's contemplated by the protective order is don't go to a place where McWilliams lives, and McWilliams is not living at the Spring Cypress.
The problem is that we also have this address there because he could always go back.
Well,
He may not live there. Maybe he lives there partially. Maybe he comes and goes.
but what
So
told us was he was
is
kicked out.
also as a preventative measure so that we don't want you to actually or accidentally bump into this person. And that's why we have this there, is that he did live there at one time. Perhaps he may go back. He left an article of clothing. He left pizza there, or whatever it may be.
Well, what's really happening is he wants to go back and continue harassing his ex-wife. And that is what Shannon has represented, I think, to both of them. I wasn't privy to their phone call. It's certainly what was represented to me. And,
What do you want?
well, I want no PC to be found on the violation of protective order charge because an element of that offense that's been alleged is that Mr. Bio went to the residence of McWilliams. McWilliams does not live there. It's not his residence. So there's no PC to believe that that element is met.
What do you think?
Judge, I don't know, on this matter,
I could think expressed in the order is that address was PC, but the actual location.
I will say, Judge, in the charging instrument, the defendant it does say, he's not allowed to intentionally or knowingly go to a place specifically described in the order. The address in the order, that's where he was staying. But in terms of
The address.
So now it's the so-called victim who showed up and started smashing windows. The whole story just flipped. Is this a violation, or is it straight-up harassment from the other side?
Who was staying
the defendant was staying at the address in the order.
in this
In the
protective
original
order?
Moab, Spring Cypress.
Okay.
Yes, the defendant was staying there. But I will say in terms of PC, I'm going to defer to the court on this matter.
May I just read that little blurb of the information that I think is important for the court to hear? May I take a cheat and steal y'all's computer? Go ahead. So,
Do we still have a problem with him trying to communicate, though?
no, he didn't want to have any communication. This gentleman comes over to the place and starts busting the windows.
I will say the complainant came to the place where the defendant was staying. Like, he initiated the contact in the situation.
And what's alleged is, and it's
So the address issue won't matter going forward. But here's the real problem. How are courts supposed to enforce protective orders when the facts are this blurry? And who's actually being protected here?
last clause, well, maybe two clauses, it says a place specifically described in the order, to wit, the residence of a protected individual, namely Mark, and it should say Mick Williams, but it says Mark Williams. So it's in order to meet this charging document, it would have to be that gentleman's residence, and he does not reside there, as by his own representation to the state. And so I'd ask that, and I know it's a very unique situation.
How do we go forward, though? If I find no PC, how do we go forward? No.
Well, goes back out on bond while we prepare our defense to the initial charge of assault, which I think they've seen quite a bit by way of background about Mr. McWilliams.
How do we know that this isn't going to happen again?
I will say, I'm not sure where Mr. Byer will be staying if he were to get out on bond, but the witness, Shannon, she is no longer living in her apartment as of tomorrow. So that address will no longer, it won't even belong to any of them as of tomorrow.
Do we do a no contact with both?
We would do no contact with the witness, with Shannon.
With Shannon?
But I would ask no contact with Mr. McWilliams.
You are now in a relationship with Shannon, right?
That's right, Judge. Yes. But yes,
So
I've instructed him, just let me answer for him, Judge. But he is in a relationship with Shannon, that's right. And he moved here from Hawaii to be with Shannon, and the ex-husband takes issue with it. And the ex-husband has a very violent history with Shannon. And so long-term, we think there'll be issues with case one even. But I understand that that's not really we're not there yet. I think the question is what to do if he is out. I do think, obviously, no contact whatsoever in any form, shape at all with Mr. McWilliams is appropriate, and that is what existed. Unfortunately, the state can't even reach McWilliams because he doesn't have a phone number that is even good.
have you run an NCIC check on this McWilliams guy?
We can see his in-county criminal history, but I can run a new check on it.
Do you see? I mean,
I don't want to be
Pretty
incorrect,
expensive.
but I think he's got violent history with Shannon. But maybe Judge, when you get to be my age, it's hard to remember all the details. But I think I recall that, but maybe I'm mistaken. I don't want to represent something inaccurate.
you have inherited a dangerous situation. And Mr. Bio, you need to be very careful. You know, if you're in a relationship with someone and they have a another person that's in their life that's like this, you could be the bearer of bad times. So you need to be very careful. You're in a very volatile situation. So you need to be careful going forward, because it really could just could go out of control. You may need to get a protective order yourself. You know, it's very possible that you may need to get a protective order. So just be careful. You're in good hands. You ever have any issues, just reach out to Brian. We can always help you out as well. I'll find no PC on the violation of protective order. But just be careful, because there are a lot of vindictive people in this life that will they'll try to make your life a living hell. And you being on bond in this case, they can do that. They can say, hey man, he's doing this to me, he's threatening me, he's doing that. And if an officer doesn't know any better and they come up and they see that have this open assault, they may never take your word. They may never even speak to you. They'll just put you in county. So you gotta be careful. You know, you're in good hands. We'll help you out for as much as we can. Okay? Okay, so I'll find no PC on the
I think Judge what
on the violation case. And I'm not gonna revoke your bond on the original assault case, Mr. Bio, but you gotta be careful, man, you know?
And Judge, I think you should also have him give his updated address to pretrial with the appropriate as well.
Okay. And I think that's probably somehow make a notation in everywhere so that we know where Shannon lives. You don't have an address for, McWilliams, so I don't know how we're going to handle
Well,
that.
I think the protective order does say any address where McWilliams does reside. So whether or not, I guess that'd be a notice question, but we know not to go anywhere where he lives.
I think the issue is whether this other person's going to now be, Yeah.
You do understand all that?
Do you have any questions? Just be careful. Life's too short to live either in a 6x9 box or be 6 feet under because you got other people that have just be careful. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Good luck. Good luck, Mr. Bio.